Today, I will tell a legend that is engraved in our hearts and full of unforgettable memories. Cars. We are going on a journey, a fast-paced adventure that will make you experience the best of nostalgia. If you are ready to have your eyes filled with tears and feel each emotion deeply, we are taking a step into this unforgettable adventure. The main character of our movie, Lightning McQueen, has an eye-catching design as a young racer. While he is eye-catching with his bright red color and cool stickers, the biggest feature that distinguishes him from other vehicles is his endless self-confidence. Although this confidence brings him races and fame, it also becomes his biggest enemy. McQueen, who was distracted in his youth, gradually becomes arrogant. However, his arrogance always causes him big problems. The clearest example of this is that he lost the biggest race because he didn't change his tires. In the press release, he says that he didn't get any help and that he did everything well on his own. The king in the Dinoco team gives him some advice. You are very talented but a little stupid. These things are teamwork. However, McQueen does not listen to this advice. His rival Chick Hicks is an ambitious and ruthless character who sees every way to win as permissible. Cheating and pursuing cunning is almost a way of life for him. He even has a malicious nature that can go so far as to cause his rivals to crash in races. Hicks' approach to other racers is quite sarcastic. He constantly tries to drain their energy by making fun of them. The person he tries the most is McQueen. However, this method does not work well on McQueen. On the contrary, McQueen easily copes with him, makes fun of him in the same style and frequently belittles Hicks. After the big race, we come across a very good example of this dynamic. Before the results are announced, Chick Hicks starts to mock him by claiming that he won the cup. However, McQueen gives him an unforgettable answer. You can only see it in your dreams, thunder. This statement upsets Chick Hicks' morale. Because everyone knows that thunder always follows lightning. Chick's expression falls after this funny line. Although he tries to appear strong and sarcastic on the outside, it is clear how uncomfortable he is being in McQueen's shadow. Chick Hicks had planned to come to the fore for years by waiting for the king, Strip Weathers, to retire. However, this young rookie who suddenly appeared turned all his plans upside down. McQueen's cocky attitudes are valid not only against his rivals, but also against his sponsor Paskett team, who played a big role in his career. He sees himself as superior to them and thinks that old cars damage his image. Because of this narcissistic attitude, he doesn't have a single friend in the universe. This situation is clearly revealed in a conversation he has with his manager Harv. When Harv says that he can send tickets to his friends for the final race of the Piston Cup, McQueen cannot say anything. Harv thinks that McQueen is indecisive because he has so many friends. However, the truth is the opposite. No one wants to be friends with this cocky rookie who sees himself as a one-man show. Of course, change is inevitable. There is a major turning point in the film where McQueen breaks this cycle of loneliness and arrogance. On the way to California for the final race, he doesn't let his traveling companion Mac sleep. His aim is to get to the racetrack before everyone else and put on a show. However, this is one of McQueen's bad decisions. Just like not changing the tire during the race cost him dearly, this choice also causes big problems for him. When Mac falls asleep on the road, McQueen falls out of the trailer and gets lost. While searching for himself on the state highway, he finds himself in a seemingly abandoned place called Radiator Springs. Here, he causes accidents while speeding in panic and seriously damages the town's road. The sheriff catches him, handcuffs him by the wheels and takes him to court. At this point, we meet the most important characters of the film. First, the town's judge, Doc Hudson, comes on stage. He is very angry about the damage done to the road and is impatient to punish the person responsible for this situation. However, when he meets McQueen, he makes an unexpected decision. He wants him to be released. Because he thinks that an arrogant race car has no place in the town. Upon this decision, the town's lawyer Sally enters the place. McQueen is shocked to see her. He had never thought he would see such a beautiful Porsche among the helpless residents of the town. McQueen approaches Sally with his usual attitude. He offers to go out to dinner and makes his famous move by shining his headlights in her eyes. However, Sally is not impressed by this behavior. She ignores him calmly, confidently and self-assuredly. This is the first step that shakes McQueen's arrogance. Being ignored is not something he is used to. Sally calmly talks him into changing Doc's mind. As a result, McQueen is sentenced to community service. He cannot be released without fixing the road. Lightning McQueen not only learned lessons about friendship and sacrifice in Radiator Springs, he also learned the value of work. McQueen, who had never done any heavy work in his life, had to pull a roller weighing tons to fix the asphalt. In the process, he experienced again and again how difficult real life is. Another thing that made McQueen angry was that no one in the town knew him. His fame had no effect on the townspeople. For them, McQueen was no different than a stone, a tree, or a sign. Doc Hudson told McQueen, "You race like you fix the road, apparently you're here for a long time." McQueen couldn't resist and made a smart aleck remark to the judge, Doc Hudson, "I'm a race car, not a bulldozer." However, McQueen didn't realize that he was saying these words to the wrong person. After this, Doc offered McQueen a race. If McQueen won, he would go free, but if he lost, he would continue to fix the road. When the race started, McQueen jumped out immediately, but Doc didn't even take action. Because he knew that McQueen was not suitable for racing on dirt and that he would crash because he couldn't take the corner. As he predicted, McQueen hit the cactuses. Doc replied with a smart aleck reply, "You race like you fix the road." These words had a big impact on McQueen. From that day on, he focused more on fixing the road and spent his time practicing his cornering skills. Noticing his struggle, Doc gave him some advice: steer right to turn left. At first, McQueen didn't understand the meaning of these words, but in time he would learn what they meant. So how did Doc, who seemed like an ordinary townsman, know so much about racing? The answer was revealed in the scene where McQueen entered Doc's garage. Doc Hudson was the greatest racing legend of all time. He had the record for most race wins in a season, and the piston cups in his garage were proof of this. McQueen was thrilled when he learned that he was a legend. However, Doc said the following legendary sentence in the face of McQueen's passion: "You look at the cups, I only see a few empty bowls." These words deeply affected McQueen. Because the piston cup, which was the biggest goal in his life, was just an unimportant object for Doc. Doc had learned that he could not find the meaning of life in cups. However, McQueen could not understand why Doc left a career at the top and settled in the town. Doc's story revealed the cruelty of the racing world. In 1954, he had a big accident and everyone thought his career was over. However, Doc worked hard to come back. Still, the racing world turned its back on him. "I expected a warm welcome when I came back," Doc recalled. "But they told me, 'Your history,' and they hired a rookie to replace me. From that day on, I left this world, never to return." This story showed how fickle people and organizations can be. No matter how great you do in life, one small setback is enough to get you thrown out. In the modern world, everything is consumed quickly. Today, we have become addicted to short and meaningless content, but the culture of watching profound works like cinema is different. I am one of those who continue to keep this culture alive, and I will continue to share this meaning with you. Lightning McQueen also gained awareness during this process. One day, Doc asked him the following question: "Have you ever cared about anything other than yourself? Give me one example, and I will take back everything I said." This sentence led McQueen to question himself. Over time, he began to understand things better and connect with those around him. One of these connections was the friendship he established with Motter. Motter would play an important role in McQueen's life and would be one of the biggest reasons for the change in his heart. At the beginning of the movie, Lightning McQueen was disgusted by rusty and old cars. Even being in the same frame with his sponsors was hard on him. However, Motter, the rusty tow truck he met in town, managed to break all these prejudices. With his pure heart and childlike energy, Motter smoothed out McQueen's arrogance and became the first person to make him laugh for real. Another person who was as effective as Motter in McQueen's change was the town's beautiful lawyer Sally. In their first meeting, Sally ignored McQueen's arrogant attitude and dealt him a serious blow to his ego. Sally was not an aggressive character, but she skillfully responded to McQueen's disrespectful attitude with her intelligence. She put him in a situation where he could not escape from the town and taught him a good lesson by using McQueen's famous arrogance. This encounter eventually led to a romantic bond between the two. In one scene, Sally asks the sheriff to fill McQueen's car with gas and offer to go for a drive. For McQueen, this was an opportunity to escape town. However, Sally knew he wouldn't do it. She trusted their bond. And indeed, instead of running away, McQueen followed Sally on the drive. Even during a simple drive, she showed her competitive nature. However, Sally left McQueen behind with the advantage of having a Porsche. This situation increased McQueen's interest in her even more. Sally's competitive and sincere attitude made him realize that she was the person he was looking for in a life partner. The drive ended at an old and dilapidated hotel. Sally explained that this hotel used to be very popular but no one came here anymore. While sharing her story, she said that she stayed in this town because it broke down on the road and Doc fixed it. When McQueen asked why she didn't go, Sally said, I fell in love. Although McQueen thought this response was about the car and was upset, Sally actually fell in love with the view of the town. This scene was a turning point that strengthened McQueen's attachment to the town. Just like Sally, McQueen also became attached to the town and its people over time. This scene about the hotel parallels the story of Doc Hudson. Doc was once a great racer, but after his accident, he fell from grace just like the hotel. McQueen's arrival in town brought back memories that Doc wanted to forget. Therefore, Doc called the media to inform them of McQueen's location and had him removed from town. However, Doc's action was not actually for the townspeople, but for his own inner unrest. Sally's words to him, "Did you want him gone for everyone, or just for yourself?" brought this fact to his face. Doc saw his younger self in McQueen. He was ambitious, passionate and talented just like him. However, this similarity pained Doc. Although he tried to stay away from McQueen, his positive effect on everyone in town changed Doc's mind. When McQueen returned to California after Doc informed him, he was a completely different person. Since he was a race car, he had always built his life on speed and victory. However, with his return, the values he learned in the town and the connections he established with people had completely changed his motivation. His old arrogant attitudes had given way to an inner peace. While remembering his experiences in the town during the race and the time he spent with the people there was a McQueen who now realized the meaning of life and the importance of emotional connections rather than speed. These memories are special memories that represent slow living and the peace and calmness. Lightning McQueen is now far from his old fast and flashy life. In the meantime, during the time McQueen was not seen around, young girls found a new favorite, Chick Hicks. Because for such people, everything is status and prestige. When you are not in the spotlight, you are also erased from minds. However, McQueen does not care much about this situation, because all he has in his mind is Sally, the beautiful lawyer of the town. When Sally looks at him, she does not see a superstar or a famous person, but a character to be loved and a naive heart. As the race day approaches, McQueen begins to miss his friends in town and cannot find enough motivation to race. He realizes that he is not feeling well and even considers withdrawing from the race. However, at that very moment, an announcement comes to his earpiece. Doc and the townspeople have come to the race site to support McQueen. This support completely changes McQueen's energy and motivation. If you remember the story, when McQueen first arrived in Radiator Town, he fell off a cliff and Doc sarcastically told him, "You race like you fix the road." In those days, McQueen was only successful on the racetrack but was quite incompetent in other areas of life. Over time, the difficulties he experienced allowed him to mature and he managed to repair the road wonderfully. Now, when he comes to the pits during the race, Doc encourages him by referring to his old saying, "If you race like you fix the road, you can win with your eyes closed." This detail summarizes McQueen's character development and his bond with Doc very well. Returning to the racetrack, McQueen begins to close the gap by improving his performance. At the beginning of the story, McQueen, who thought everything was a one-man show, now understands the value of having a team and working with a leader, and races gratefully. As the race continues, Chick Hicks tries to put his opponents in a difficult situation by cheating. McQueen also loses control and is thrown off the track by Chick's intervention. However, this time McQueen remembers a piece of advice from his team: steer right to turn left. He skillfully applies this technique, turns the skidding into an advantage and plays for the lead again. At this very moment, the dramatic moment occurs when Chick Hicks hits the king, causing a huge accident. McQueen, Bu Sanid Getchmis Dakun Yasadi G Ajir Kazayi Hatirle Eric Darren Bir Empati Kur. Kendi Kazandi G Deniumler Ve Olgunlukla, Kupai Kazanmaya Sadaja Berkak Meter Kala Frenya Par Ve Krala Yardim Et My Karar Verier. Bu Haraket, Yaris Alaninda Buyik Bir Sesislik Yaradir. Herkus Saskinlik Isendekin Dakin Uzund Bir Gulam Seme Balirier. Chunku Dak, McQueenin Bu Haraketinin Ardendaki Dwiguyu Ve Onlama Kok Iyi Onlamastir. McQueen, Sadaja Kupai Degil, Insanelagini Ve Doslagunu on Plana Koimastor. Kral, Bu Sanid McQueen Su Onlamli Soru Sorer. Evlad, as once Piston Kupasini K Bedin, Farkinda Missin? McQueenin Verdi G Sivap is Animasian Dunyasinin Unitulmas Replicarinden Beridir. Tanidajum Yasli Bir Yaris Arabasi Bana Bir Karasinde Soil Dimisti. Kupa Dedijan Boss Bir Kasedir. Bu Sivap, Daki Gurilinderir Ve McQueenin Olgunlasan Karakterini Tam Onlamila Yanzidar. McQueenin Bu Ornig Devrani C. Yalnizka Yaris Alaninda Degil, Radiator Kasabashinda da Buyik Bir Dijasim Yaradir. Kasaba eski parlak gunlarin Jerry Donner, insanlar kasabanın digerini yeniden kesfeder. McQueen de artık yalnızlık ve bireyselcin insana hiçbir fayda sağlamadığını kak iyi anlamıştır. Çünkü bu bir ekip isidir. Ansik güzel gunlar sansuza dek sürmez. Hikayenin devamında dakin hayatini kaybedeceğini öğreniyoruz. Bu kayıp, hem McQueen'i hem de kasaba halkini derinden etkiler. Yine dak il McQueen'in arasında kurulan bag ve paylaşılan değerler, unutulmaz bir miras olarak kalır. Yıllar once simsik McQueen isen bir yolculuk yarım kalmış olabilir. Ansik şimdi yaptıkları gerçek bir efsane donusmustu. Kak sevdiğiniz ve siz ilham veren birinin olumunu düşünün. Onun kabi, sizi derinden etkili ip değiştirmiştir. İşte Doc Hudson'ın olumu, McQueen isen boyle bir kayıptı. Ne salinin sisik sevgisi ne matayan dostluğu ne de kazandığı başarılar bu asayı dindir bildi. Bu yüzden McQueen, tüm enerjisini yarışlara adadı. Pisalar kazandığı kupalar ve başarılarla idolu dakin hatirisini yasatmaya kalisti. Bu, ona bir nebz hazır veriyordu. Bu surrect, simsik McQueen ve diğer yarışçılar arasında güzel bir dostluk gelişti. Rakipleri Bobby ve Carl, sik birbirlerini tekilsalar da aralarında büyük bir sevgi vardı. Chick gibi chaotic karakterlerin azamış olmasıyla yarış pisaların hazır hakimdi. Bu arada Chick, yorumcu olmuş ve yeni görevin bil McQueen'i rahat bırakmıyordu. Fakat her Jackson Storm asimli, modern teknolojiyle donatılmış yeni bir yarış arasının ortaya çıkmasıyla değişti. Storm, ilk yarışında tüm rakiplerini kolayca geçerek kazandı. Bu basari, yarış dünyasının dinamiklerini tamamen alt üst etti. Eski nesil erikler birer yerlerini yeni nesil eriklere bırakmaya başladılar. Bu durum, bir devrin sonunun yaklaştığını gösteriyordu. Bir süre sonra, eski şampiyonlardan geriye sadece Bobby, Carl ve McQueen gibi birkaç isim kaldı. Ansik teknolojinin hızla geliştiği bu dönemde, onların bil isi zordu. Carl's decision to retire came as a huge shock to Lightning McQueen. Although he tried to talk him out of it, Carl gave him this meaningful answer: "I once asked my uncle how I would know when to quit." What did he say? The young ones will tell you. These words were a painful reminder that times have changed. Just like Doc Hudson once said, "I expected a warm welcome when I came back." Do you know what they said? Your history. They hired a rookie instead of me. These statements showed that even great legends cannot resist the power of time. Jackson Storm was the rookie metaphor for Doc at that time, and now for Lightning McQueen. When Bobby also retired from racing, only Lightning McQueen remained from the older generation of vehicles. This was a difficult situation for McQueen, because no matter how much he tried to deny it, he knew that it was his turn. He managed to take the lead in a race, but Jackson Storm came from behind and easily caught him and said sarcastically to McQueen, "Don't worry, enjoy your retirement." These words ignited McQueen's competitive spirit. However, no matter how hard he tried, he could not keep up with Storm and the other new generation vehicles. His excessive exertion paved the way for the expected end. In a race where he lost his balance, he had a serious accident, just like the King and the Hudson Hornet. This accident was one of the turning points of the story. McQueen got even closer to Doc Hudson with this tragedy. He had already been racing for a long time to honor his mentor. Now he had faced a similar destruction. McQueen, who had withdrawn from racing, fell into a great depression. The pressure of the media was pushing him to decide to retire. However, Sally stepped in at this point. She approached McQueen with endless trust and love. She made him believe that he could get back on his feet. McQueen set out to receive a modern education and develop. In this process, a trainer named Cruz was trying to help him. However, McQueen could not reconcile with technology. He missed working in the dirt, feeling the wind and following the tracks he left in the past. Unable to resist McQueen's insistence, Cruz started accompanying him to his outdoor training sessions. However, there was a problem. Cruz was used to working indoors and this made it difficult for him to adapt to McQueen. Therefore, the teacher-student relationship was reversed and McQueen started teaching Cruz how to drive on dirt. After a while, they participated in a race to practice. During the race, the scene where McQueen repeated a piece of advice he learned from Doc moved the audience. To turn left, turn right. This sentence was an unforgettable piece of advice Doc gave to McQueen and made us feel that the spirit of the Hudson Hornet was still alive. During the training and education process, Mac would take a break and rest while our characters were traveling. This scene was a reference to the first movie. If you remember, McQueen did not allow Mac to take a break in the first movie and got lost as a result of this decision. However, this time Mac's rest showed that McQueen had matured. The following sentence written on a sign where they were resting was striking. "Is it time for me to retire?" This question clearly reflected McQueen's inner questioning. He had embarked on a journey of self-improvement, but instead of progressing, he was rapidly falling behind. Because he spent most of his time training Cruz. Realizing this situation, McQueen shouted at Cruz in a moment of anger, saying that he could not understand how he felt because he was not a racer. At this point, Cruz's story emerged. Cruz had actually wanted to be a racer since childhood. However, life had forced him to tear his dreams away and become a trainer. While telling McQueen about his disappointments, his voice trembled and he said the following touching sentence: "I always wanted to be a racer. Because of you. The first race I participated in was my only chance, but I couldn't use it." This sentence reminded me of Doc's words to McQueen years ago. "I still had a lot of work to do, but I didn't get the chance." McQueen was a hero to Cruz. He had watched him and dreamed of him since he was a child. Just as Doc was an idol to McQueen, McQueen was also Cruz's idol. However, the hurtful words he heard from McQueen broke Cruz's heart. When McQueen realized this, he apologized to Cruz and they decided to go to Thomasville together. This was where Doc trained and it was like his hometown. When McQueen saw Doc's picture on a sign at the entrance to Thomasville, he got emotional and said, "It's good to see you, Doc." They came here to find Doc's trainer, Smokey. They were looking for a solution to their bad situation, and Smokey could be the right person. In the following scenes, McQueen and Cruz encountered Smokey while they were driving around the same roads Doc raced on. Smokey told them a story about Doc's youth. He said that Doc was never an ordinary racer, and that in his first races he was known as the Great Hudson Hornet. A young competitor tried to corner Doc, but Doc skillfully maneuvered the wall and passed him. This incident was a sign that he would become a legend. While listening to Smokey's story, McQueen sighed deeply and said, "I wish I could have seen him in his happier days." Thereupon, Smokey took McQueen to his garage and said the following about Doc. He was worn out after the accident. He was very upset not being able to race. But then letters about you started coming. Doc loved racing, but the times he trained you were the best days of his life. This scene increased the emotional burden inside McQueen even more and reminded him once again that Doc was not only a coach but also a father figure. For a champion who passed everyone he competed with and won every cup he participated in, it is truly meaningful that the happiest moment of his life was when Lightning McQueen managed to pass him. Doc found everything he had lost in McQueen. Seeing McQueen as his son and watching him rise was the proudest moment of his life. In the later scenes of the movie, Smokey starts training McQueen and Cruz. During this process, McQueen tries to get ready for the race by pushing his limits. While working in the forest, we see that the electronic suit on him starts to tear. This is an important detail, because he wore this suit in the training center and they were trying to adapt it to modern techniques. However, McQueen is an old generation vehicle and his mind is also in the past. No matter how hard he tries, that suit does not fit him. While working with the methods of old generation vehicles, we watch his suit tear and return to the Lightning McQueen image we are used to. If he was going to win the race, he would have to do it his own way. But no matter how hard he tried, he could not reach enough speed. Although he tried to pass Cruz from behind in the last training, he eventually lost the race. This is a very important message about the end of the movie. When the big race day in Florida comes, we see that McQueen has doubts about himself and that his great love Sally comes to McQueen to get his support. Also, in this race, Smokey, just like Doc, takes over the McQueen team leadership. When the race starts, McQueen starts to come from behind and get ahead of everyone. The fact that an older generation car could do this can only be explained by the spirit of a champion, because the other racers had already retired. In the middle of the race, McQueen's sponsor criticizes Cruz harshly. "Take off those wings and racing tires, you're not a racer, you look funny." These words affect Cruz and he thinks about returning to his own business. At that moment, McQueen, who hears what is happening over the radio, returns to his old self and helps Cruz. When Cruz says, "This could be your last chance," McQueen gives a great answer. "Yes, my last chance, to give you your first chance." McQueen then becomes Cruz's team leader and guides him. When Cruz is worried and demoralized by Jackson Storm's rise, McQueen encourages him. "I see things in you that even you don't see. You made me believe it." We remember hearing this sentence before, when Smokey described McQueen. McQueen made this reminder to regain Cruz's confidence. Now, we can say that he is an old-fashioned racer, but a very modern and knowledgeable team leader. He knows the tricks he encounters during the race very well and helps Cruz every step of the way. When we come to the last lap of the race, while Cruz is trying to pass Storm, Storm gets angry and tries to push Cruz into the wall. At this very moment, a memory of a legend appears. Cruz takes the lead using Storm's move and wins the race. Thus, Storm's winning streak ends. Cruz's victory stands out as the greatest rookie story to emerge after McQueen. Smokey had been as disciplined as McQueen during his training process, and he deserved this victory. After the race, we see Lightning McQueen looking at Cruz with pride. It is very difficult to describe his feelings. Because his student won the race with his idol's move, he wants to share this wonderful moment with him and says something very meaningful. The kid is really talented, huh? The fact that McQueen still talks to Doc deep down and wants to tell him about every experience means a great commitment. Moreover, this commitment is not just an abstract thing. If you remember, at the beginning of the story, McQueen really wanted to be painted in Dinoco blue. But over time, as his character developed, he didn't like that flashy blue, he liked his own red color. Now other things became more important. However, at the end of the story, a change occurs and he paints himself. And in blue. But this blue is the blue of the Hudson Hornet. McQueen eased Doc's pain by becoming him. That's why he became a mentor and team coach just like Doc. You all wanted McQueen to win the race, not Cruz. I know that, but you should not forget the main message of the Cars series. A cup is just an empty bowl. McQueen's goal was to reach the peace Doc gained while training him, and he finally had a student he could look at with pride. So the series finale was actually very powerful and meaningful. When all the action is over, Lightning McQueen challenges the rookie with his new look. Just like he did once. I feel like whatever I say about the Cars series would be insufficient. I've been talking for minutes and I feel like there's something missing inside me. I get lost a little more with each sentence because they weren't just cars, they were our heroes. They symbolized the innocence of our childhood, the excitement of our youth, and our dreams. They taught us values beyond just racing, determination, friendship, love, and most importantly, the courage to always look forward. Lightning McQueen and Hudson Hornet. They are legends that take shape over time but never change. They grew with every speed, with every struggle. They gave us things in life that were much more valuable than gains. Hope, faith, and heart-to-heart connections. They were a part of our childhood and youth, at every turning point of our paths. They made us laugh even when we were lost and vulnerable. Now those legends are gone, but the marks they left behind will never be erased. We will remember you forever, the great Hudson Hornet, and you too, the great champion Lightning McQueen. Because you will always be at the forefront of our hearts.